I've been wanting to make this video for a while. Well, because I know some viewers out there that have been watching me for a while now. They know that I've been doing more debates with some socialists out here or some Marxists, and some of my points could be done a lot more better. But with the little knowledge that I have about combating socialism as it is, um, with me talking with other libertarian podcasters or libertarian streamers like Fabian Liberty and talking to some other guys like the philosophical zombie hunter, the individual from the UK that I talked to 4 to 5 months ago about him explaining socialism and economics to me. If you guys don't know that video, we had like a nearly 2 hour conversation. It was a pretty good conversation too about things that go on that happens in the UK and things that go on in the US when it pertains to socialism and capitalism and even some type of Marxist standpoints. But in this video, we're going to be going over a little piece from the philosophical zombie hunter that he researched, and he put together this little essay or this little study to, because he wants people who are more capitalist or who are more on the libertarian side, or anybody who's not socialist, to combat some socialist talking points that he sees that he's experienced from a whole bunch of years, and that he actually researched on some things, because he has more, because he has more time, and he's actually taking it more seriously. So we're gonna be going over the we're gonna be going over this article from the philosophical zombie hunter, and then we gonna you guys can comment down below about what y'all think about this. And for people who are severely against socialism, and they want a much more capitalist environment, and with this article, it's to help combat socialist talking points or socialist streamers, socialist people. So let's go ahead and read this by the philosophical zombie hunter. The idea of changing the definition of socialism away from its past atrocities is not a new one. It is also not new for U.S. socialists to look at Northern European countries, specifically as something they would like to emulate. But around 2018, possible as early as 2015, when Bernie Sanders announced his bid for presidency, came the idea about how to recategorize socialism to narrowly fit those Northern European countries as socialism, completely ignoring the fact that those countries don't see themselves as socialists, and completely ignoring the countries that actually did or do, but haven't turned out that well. Needless to say that in a lot of progressive, egalitarian socialist and Marxist circles, these ideas took hold. Countries like Sweden, Norway, and Denmark are seen as the height of democratic evolution. For socialists, however, they are not quite there. But if they only took a few more steps, they are practically socialists in the mixed economy sense. Originally, when these ideas started circulating, it was difficult for liberals to say anything wrong against them. I'll explain why in this article. They would not fully admit that these are the right socialist definitions, and in any case, Nordic countries do run on capitalist ways. So these ideas were hand-waved away with conceding ground that they could not be countered. In this article, I will counter them. I mean, again, guys, bear with me. If you got some time to actually listen to this piece by the philosophical zombie hunter, PCH. Pretty cool individual. I consider him an ally in all this. And again, if you guys have some questions, leave a comment down below or hit me up on my Discord. So, socialist institutions. The biggest shift in this discussion was decided by Northern socialist-inspired thinkers that the best way to judge if a country is socialist is by how many socialist institutions it has. If those institutions go above a certain percent of the economy or above a total number of workers in the economy, then it's socialist. By socialist, the implication is not held in private ownership. These institutions could be General government services like public schools, public healthcare, police, army, all of these are socialist. State-owned enterprise, the post office, the public utilities, and the DMV. The social wealth funds, usually some sort of fund that invests in the market with the purpose of getting interest and growing the fund. An example would be a pension fund. A worker cooperative, where the company is owned by the workers. Labor unions, and mechanism to negotiate together on behalf of the workers. Under this new definition, all developed countries in Europe have quite a high percentage of socialist institutions. In addition, proper socialist countries like the USSR, Mao, hopefully I'm saying that right, or modern China and Venezuela will qualify for the title of socialist. And that leads us to the next requirement. Democratic socialism, which is what Bernie Sanders has ran on since the whole 2016 bit. He's ran on democratic socialism and promoted democratic socialism. And that's what a lot of people today see Bernie Sanders as this pioneer of hope, mainly a lot of leftists or socialist talking points who, again, don't really know what actual socialism is. They just say, they hear, especially when it pertains to the Nazi Germany, who the little name of Nazi is in the name itself is socialist, but they say, oh, it was a socialist, it was capitalist, or they would go. Yeah, or they would make some bandwagon comments saying it wasn't real socialism when they don't even know what real socialism is. So, getting off track here. But let's go ahead and keep reading. From the Democrat socialism. While the definition of socialism has become much looser to include European countries, there needed to be some criteria to disqualify all the old socialist countries that didn't pan out the way they were intended. What would that be? Well, all those old socialist experiments, and even some modern day ones, ended in authoritarianism and corruption. So to filter them out, we need a criteria of democratic. If the country cannot be properly ruled by its people, then it must not be really democratic. Now, when you say I don't like socialism because I don't want a repeat of the USSR, socialists will reply will be, when I say socialism, I mean Norway or Sweden. And title, why is this wrong? For starters, we just excluded all the countries that do call themselves socialists and replaced them with Northern European countries that do not do that. Is that dishonest? Well, yes. And again, they also do that with the whole Nazi thing. When Nazi literally stand for National Socialist German Workers Party, but a lot of socialists nowadays would say, oh well, just because they say they're socialists doesn't mean they are socialists. It's literally in the goddamn name. And even Adolf Hitler, from what I researched from guys like Jan Ripper, is like Adolf Hitler hated capitalists, and he was promoting socialistic philosophies. But so again, if anytime you try to bring up that name of the National Socialist German Workers Party is the actual name of Nazis, they would say, well, or what Jan Ripper said, well, I bet you think buffalo wings are made from buffaloes too. Yeah, they being completely disingenuous and dishonest, yes. But again, going off track here, let's keep going. Not only do these countries not consider themselves socialists, they have no intention of being ones in the future. They do not believe in the class struggle paradigm. Hold on, I'm saying that right. They follow the class collaboration paradigm. Again, hold on, I'm saying that right. Putting that aside, I would like to focus on three concrete concepts that will debunk Nordic socialism for good. Small countries. Every time he even has some research here to prove it. Some countries, every time a ranking is published on the richest countries or the most innovative or the most competitive, the happiest or safest, small countries almost always occupy most of the top positions. Small countries are countries with fewer than 10 million inhabitants. Among the top 10 richest countries per capita, 9 of them are small countries. Out of the top 25 richest countries in the world per capita, 17 are small countries. So they don't have the population as the U.S., China, or Russia, and they try to make it for what I guess it makes they policies. The economic policies are a lot more easier to manufacture because the population is not as big as it is in the U.S., China, the U.S., China, Russia, and the U.K. Why are small? I'm sorry. As it happens, all the Nordic countries are small, with the exception of Sweden being 10.5 million, which makes it just above small, but still pretty close. Why are small countries richer? And this is what he says. The main reason that small countries do better is because they are small. This means that they typically cannot produce everything they need, and as a result, have to be open to international trade and competition. Small countries are typically very economically free. Economic freedom is one of the key factors that contribute to economic growth. Again, this also goes to the point where a lot of socialists or a lot of Democrats or even Republicans want a bigger government to try to push out better policies when a smaller government would be a lot more better, or a national divorce where everything that goes on in they state would be at the governor's level and not the federal governor's level. It's still statehood, and statehood is a major problem, but it would be a step towards to actually become a much more better society if the federal government wasn't in charge of every little thing that goes on in the U.S. and if the federal spending then damage the middle class and the low class. But again, gonna kind of track here, but just want to add that in. I read that. This is due to the fact that countries with greater economic freedoms tend to have more efficient markets, better protection of property rights, and less government interference in the economy. Again, what I just said. These factors make it easier for businesses to start and grow, allowing for the creation of more jobs and higher wages. This in turn leads to higher levels of consumption and investment, which drives economic growth. Small countries tend to have less bureaucracy. They don't need so many political structures, or it's harder to justify them. Citizens tend to be more aware of costs involved. Usually, they simply can't afford it. If a small country sets up a government service such as healthcare, these systems will be small and not complex in real terms, meaning it would be easier for a small country to implement a labor-intensive government service such as healthcare than it would be for a large country. Due to it being less complex, it would not be affected by the diseconomies of scale. And this is the graph right here for trades as percent of the GDP. The small countries is a lot more higher than it for the small countries developing and the small countries which is the blue. They are a lot more higher for the trade a percentage of the GDP than they are for the large countries, which in itself, because like you said, in a much more smaller country, it's a lot more easier to handle all this stuff. America is a very huge company with a whole lot of federal spending. Well, basically the federal government in general just make things a lot more worse for the average everyday people like you and me. Number 2, trust. The Nordic countries have a high degree of interpersonal trust. They trust each other. They trust the government. They trust their business. Hence the class collaborations mentioned earlier. Now, the reason why they have this high degree of trust is a more complex issue, but it could be partly due to the following reasons. They relatively small size of the Nordic countries may make it easier for individuals to trust one another, as they are more likely to know and interact with each other on a regular basis. The culture of the Nordic countries may be more conducive to trust, with an emphasis on individual autonomy and self-sufficiency, Protestant work ethic. The Nordic countries are relatively small and dislocated, which may have contributed to the development of more homogeneous populations over time. Hold on, I said that right? The region has a long history of shared cultural and historical experiences, which may have further contributed to a sense of shared identity among the populations of the Nordic countries. And here's a graph right here. Oh wait, no, I ain't need to see that. That's a graph right here from country to country with trust versus the GDP per capita. And Norway is up there up top. China is also up there. The Netherlands, Sweden is up there. Saudi Arabia is up there. Hong Kong. Japan is at above 30%. Where's America though? Where is America? Okay, here it is. The United States is right there, almost at the 40% mark. So not people don't really trust the United States, which who can blame them? And his the trusting people, the ESS3 and Apple barometer 3. Again, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, the Netherlands, these smart countries are up there up top for the trusting people. Now, it is very important to note that a lot of actual socialist countries had issues with corruption. These conditions of high trust and smaller bureaucracies could be strong reasons as to why these countries have not suffered such high degrees of corruption. The Blade Runner curse. Let's go and see what the Blade Runner curse is. Hold on a second while I go ahead and fix that up a bit so you guys can hear it.
The Wall Street Journal recently reported on the so-called Blade Runner curse. In that 1982 sci-fi cult classic starring Harrison Ford, some real-world corporations of 1982 appear prominently in the dark neon-lit cityscape of a fictional 2019. Director Ridley Scott's goal was to convey a gloomy foreboding about the triumph of corporate power in our not-too-distant future. The curse is that many of the companies in the movie, such as Pan Am and Bell Telephone, no longer exist or were gobbled up. It's a curse, allegedly, because this is supposedly unusual. But for all of their corporate power, big corporations are often powerless when it comes to the simple task of surviving. Only 67 of the firms in the Fortune 500 in 1955 were still there by 2011. The rest were lost, like tears in rain. The lesson is that if you're worried about corporate power, don't be afraid of the market, but do be afraid of companies joining with governments to artificially extend their lifespans.
So basically what that was is that you should, what I got right there is that you should not really be afraid of free market. You should be afraid of the state or the federal influence that could come with said corporations. That can come with said policies or corruption that could damage your business. Okay, so that's what I'm getting out of it. The last part has more to do with the claim of socialist institutions than the Nordic countries themselves. A bit of a detour, but bear with me. A lot of people are under the impression that society is run by large corporations. Again, they're not. They're run by the state. Anybody that keeps on making this bold claim that the freaking society is run by large corporations, even though it's the state, it's the federal government that makes all these policies that fundamentally hurt the middle low class. But you have people that say, oh well, it's big businesses getting into the pockets of the state, and they are paying them off to keep the middle and low class people where they at. That sounds more like a state problem. That sounds more like a federal government problem. But let's keep on going. The aim stated by socialists that the government should turn corporations into socialist institutions over time. Ignores the fact that companies do not live forever. Exactly. It's just like these companies do not last forever. Like a lot of big companies eventually do die down. Like, when's the last time anybody heard from the company AOL? That was a lost company in the 90s and early 2000s. It got destroyed by Google and Bing, and Microsoft Bing. So big corporations do not last forever. The Blade Runner curse is an observation made about the movie Blade Runner that came out in 1982. In this dystopian future, there can be seen large visible commercials for companies across the city. As it turns out, most of the companies have died out. The expectation was that in the future, these companies will still be around and only getting larger. But companies are actually quite fragile. Out of 10 new companies, 6 close within the first year. 3 continue, but the profits are low or break even. 1 does succeed. The average age of a company that survives beyond 1 year is 11 years, and the average age of a company on the S&P 500 is 15 years. The idea of capitalism and creative destruction is that new companies will be created continuously and replace the old ones in a sort of life cycle. Therefore, in an economic system where companies will be eventually taken over by the government in one way or another, there will be no incentive for new companies to form. This would lead to a downward spiral of lack of competition, lack of innovation, government protectionism, high unemployment, high prices, and eventually the economy grinding to a halt. This undermines the whole premise of the socialist approach. What socialists have not yet learned is that if you are unhappy with the distribution of an economic system and you make changes to it, you risk hurting the production side of that economic system. The Nordic countries have liberal economies that have high degrees of economic freedom and do not suffer from this issue. Conclusion. So what would you reply with the next time you hear when I hear socialism? I mean Sweden. When I mean socialism, I mean Sweden or Norway. You could say the Nordic countries are small countries with liberal economies, high degree of interpersonal trust, small bureaucracies, and small welfare systems in real terms. Yeah, again, a lot of socialists that I hear nowadays, they say they want a large welfare system and they want small one huge monopoly. Like they want to get rid of all these other monopolies and make a one singular monopoly, which is the U.S. Federal Reserve. And they would say the government does not have a monopoly, but if you form one huge singular institution to combat the other ones and take them out, then you are literally creating a singular monopoly. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that's literally what they say they want a one singular huge federal government monopoly, or they want a large government system. So they want a singular monopoly to destroy all these other monopolies. That's what they want. And again, get out turn right there. They do not consider themselves socialists. And okay, let me go and start that over. The Nordic countries are small countries with liberal economies, high degree of interpersonal trust, small bureaucracies, and small welfare systems in real terms. They do not consider themselves socialists and do not believe in the socialist principle of class struggle. So I'm gonna put the link down below if you guys want to read this. Now I know some people who probably click on this video who are more socialist, that they will be pissed off at this and say like I said, these countries are let's just say they will probably say it's not real socialism that happened before, or it wasn't Dave Brandon socialism. It wasn't Dave Brandon socialism, but it was still socialism. Yeah, they'll probably say something completely idiotic like that. And again, I'm gonna leave this link in the comment section below so you guys can check this out themselves. Yes, yourselves. But it's a pretty interesting read, a very interesting talking point, in which a lot of things that he said here I heavily agree with, and I honestly had this kind of talks with some socialists that I've had some debates with. I think on my channel I had like 3 debates with some socialists, and they would say Nazism isn't socialist, even though Nazi stands for National Socialist German Workers' Party. And then they would, you already know, again, they would say something borderline stupid like, well, I bet you think buffalo wings are made out of buffaloes too. Yeah, something stupid like that. They, again, being completely disingenuous, or don't want to come to the fact that it wasn't they kind of socialist, it wasn't they kind of socialism, so they would make this stupid claim that it was somehow Nazism. I mean, it was somehow capitalism. I mean, but guys, again, this video is getting kind of long. Just wanted to share this little piece from a ally of mine, philosophical zombie hunter. I'll leave his link in the description below. I'll leave this article in the description below. Again, if you guys have anything you want to add to this, let me know what y'all think about it in the comments below. If you guys like what I'm saying, like and subscribe, share the video, hit the notification bell. I will see y'all next one. Peace. Also, make sure you join me on my Discord. You know, the links are in the description below. You guys want to have a conversation, want to talk. You guys want to promote your own videos. You want to talk about gaming, movies, and TV shows, or politics. You know, just, hit that link in the description box below, and let's have a chat. Also, make sure you follow me on my Twitch. I'll be on my Twitch sometimes, just playing games, to be chilling. Some new games coming out this year that I want to play, especially when it comes to Resident Evil games, and just make sure you subscribe there, you follow me there, and let's have some fun. Also, make sure that you do like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, because the YouTube algorithm is hurting everybody at this point, and they do not like seeing small guys like myself grow. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, because your man try to get paid here, people. It don't take nothing but a second.